Okay, hi everyone. So for today, I will be recording and uploading the videos on WhatsApp because I find that we wanted to do it live, but some students seem to be not able to make it for the live one. So we will maybe do it in the next session live. So for today, I am going to actually record a few short videos. Okay, now the videos will be based on the paper which I've given to you. I've sent in WhatsApp, so I hope that some of you have printed it out. So when you watch this video, you can put the paper and also have a pen or pencil. Okay, as you watch, you can actually fill in your answers. All right, and if you have any questions, you can actually post it in the WhatsApp group. Okay, our science WhatsApp group. You can post it there. Okay, now we are going to start with chapter 4. Okay, for this topic, science chapter 4 is on carbon compounds. All right, it's on carbon compounds. Now, the first thing when we look at carbon compounds is a compound is basically a combination of elements. Okay, it's a combination, and it is a combination of carbon with other elements. So carbon compounds are compounds that contain carbon elements. Okay, they may contain other elements as well, for example hydrogen, nitrogen, but the most important element which it has to contain is carbon. Okay, therefore we call it as a carbon compound. Alright, for carbon compounds, we divide it into two. One is we call as organic compounds, another is inorganic compounds. Okay, so let's look at organic and inorganic. What are they? And let's look at some examples. Now, first of all, the origin. Okay, organic compound mostly is derived from living organisms or living things. Okay, this is from living things. For example, they originate from plants or animals. Okay, now these could be plants or animals which are dead, decompose, and they turn into some kind of organic compounds. Okay, whereas inorganic compounds, they do not, or let's put this as, they are actually originating from non-living organisms, okay, or non-living things. Okay, before I go into what is the characteristics, we look at the example first so that you get an idea, a picture. Okay, organic compounds example would be, first thing is starch. Now starch is quite popular because it is produced by plants. Okay, plants are living organisms, therefore starch comes under organic compounds. Now we already said organic compounds mostly are from living things such as plants and animals. Okay, other examples would be fat. Okay, fat in meat. Okay, fat in meat, or we can say cellulose. Okay, I think you would have heard of cellulose. Cellulose is actually part of the cell of a plant cell. All right, it makes up the plant cell or some animal cells. Okay, other examples for organic compound would be petrol. Okay, or petroleum. Now, how can petrol be from a living thing? Because petrol is actually from petroleum. Okay, from petroleum, which is from dead plants or animals. After many years, it decomposes under high pressure and temperature, and it turns into petroleum. Okay, so these are just some examples. There's a few, there are much more. You can actually find it in some of your books. You can add it into these notes if you get more examples. Now, examples of inorganic. Okay, now we look at inorganic compounds. Now, for inorganic compounds, the examples would be carbon dioxide, popular one, carbon dioxide, CO2, calcium carbonate, okay, which it's limestone, okay, limestone, magnesium carbonate, or we can also say marble. Okay, these are some examples of inorganic compounds. Now, whether it's organic or inorganic compounds, these compounds are all carbon compounds. All right, now these are all coming under carbon compounds. Therefore, each one of these element or each one of these substance has to contain carbon element. Okay, each one of these substance contains carbon element. All right, now let's look at other characteristics for organic and inorganic compounds. Now, first, for organic compound, burns in air producing carbon dioxide. Okay, that is actually true. So yes, all organic compounds burns in air and they produce carbon dioxide. All right, all organic compounds. For example, fossil fuels, which is petrol, coal, or natural gas, they all burn in air and they produce a byproduct, which is carbon dioxide. Now, inorganic compounds, generally, they do not burn in air to produce carbon dioxide. Okay, but there's an exception, except carbonates. Okay, except carbonates. Now, carbonates is for example limestone. Okay, limestone is a type of carbonate, right? So generally inorganic, they do not burn in air to produce carbon dioxide, but they only burn if it contains a carbonate, okay, in the compound. Alright, next, size of molecules or compounds. So size of molecules, normally organic compounds are quite large. Okay, they are quite large, whereas inorganic compounds are relatively smaller. Alright, solubility, it means whether it can be dissolved, okay, or in what kind of substance can it be dissolved. So solubility of organic compounds, it can be dissolved, or we say it is dissolved in organic solvents. Okay, dissolves in organic solvents, whereas inorganic compound, they dissolve in inorganic solvents. So if we take a organic compound, okay, if we take an organic compound and we try to dissolve it with an inorganic solvent, it doesn't work. It won't dissolve. An organic compound has to be dissolved in an organic solvent, basically. All right, and an inorganic compound has to dissolve in a inorganic solvent. Okay, example of an organic solvent. Okay, example of an organic solvent would be alcohol. Okay, let me just put it here. Example of an organic solvent is alcohol. All right, and example of inorganic solvent which we use to dissolve normally inorganic would be example water. Okay, so this is all you need to know for organic and inorganic compounds. Now we're going to move on to the next subtopic. Now this section is called hydrocarbons. Now if you want to copy down or something, you can always pause the video, all right, because it's recorded. So next subtopic, hydrocarbons. Okay, for hydrocarbons, right, hydrocarbons, they contain, okay, they are carbon compounds, but they contain or must contain hydrogen and carbon only. This is very important. So a hydro compound basically contains hydrogen, that's why it's a hydro, and carbon. Okay, they contain hydrogen and carbon. Okay, so hydrocarbon compounds definition, please just write it in. Okay, the definition you can write it in as compounds that contain only hydrogen and carbon elements or atoms. Okay, I hope you can see my writing. Carbon compounds that contain only hydrogen and carbon elements. Okay, that's the definition of hydrocarbon. It must contain hydrogen and carbon, and only those two. They don't contain any other element. Okay, they cannot contain nitrogen, they cannot have phosphorus or anything else. They only can have a C, which is a carbon, and a H. Okay, but the number of C and H can vary. So some hydrocarbon, for example, can be C2H4 or C3H6, whatever. Okay, so these are all hydrocarbons. They contain only carbon and hydrogen. They do not contain any other elements. All right, now where do we find hydrocarbon compounds? Okay, natural resource. Okay, hydrocarbon compounds example would be the most popular one, petroleum. Okay, petroleum and natural gas. Okay, and coal. All right, so these three, as we know, these are all fossil fuels. Okay, fossil fuels which we use for combustion, burning, and they are all hydrocarbon compounds, which means they contain carbon and hydrogen only. Okay, that's for the first subtopic. All right, I'm going to end it here. So please fill in the first page of the worksheet which I've given to you in WhatsApp. Okay, please fill it in accordingly. All right.